inalienable rights, and that they loan those rights to the government for the purpose of advancing their freedom. And it's for that reason that government is limited. And you know, my friends, it's almost a year ago when I had the distinct honor in St. Paul, Minnesota, to place in nomination and be the only person who did in this country to place in nomination the name of John McCain to be President of the United States. And the interesting thing about it, I went to the podium at that big arena earlier in that evening, and I spoke to the American people. And I said the reason I supported Senator McCain is because he knew in the core of his soul that life begins at conception. That he knew that he wanted to win the war against terror, not simply end it. And he knew that you don't raise taxes in the middle of recession. Yeah. And my friends, we left there buoyed, but half of the American people disagreed with us because they heard the president say he was for hope and change. And we are here today saying we just hope he changes. My friends, we hope he changes. We hope he changes on the spending of money. We hope he changes on the advancement of bailouts. We hope he changes on the creation of czars. We hope he changes this slide towards European-style socialism. We hope he changes. But we also hope he changes in the issue of today as it relates to health care. If you were to stand behind me without this cap on, you would notice that I've had surgery 5 times over the course of about 4 years, going back 15 years ago. I am healthy today. But you will notice something in that experience that I had. In that experience, I sat down with myself, my wife, and my 3 doctors. And we talked, doctors that I chose. And we talked about my treatment. We talked about the therapy. We talked and agreed on when it would occur. We even talked about the cost, but more importantly, we talked about when it was going to stop. As you can tell from the back of my head, I have a scar. And the scar is there because the pain was so great. I said, I can't see the back of my head. I'm through. I'll let y'all see the back of it from now on. But let me tell you what is important about that story. None of us want a government bureaucrat standing between us and our doc. None of us want a government bureaucrat telling us what kind of treatment we can have. None of us want a government bureaucrat telling us when we can have our treatment and how long we've got to wait. And we surely don't want a government bureaucrat telling us that their decision is for the treatment to stop. My friends, we got work to do in this country. When I go around this state where you are telling me that what you want to send to Washington are people who are consistent and principled conservatives, who have the courage to stand up to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, who will not be seduced by the Washington Post, the New York Times, and even the K Street lobby. And he can put forward to the American people and rally them around the next generation of Republican ideals and solutions. You know, back in 1986, I was a 33-year-old prosecutor at the U.S. Department of Justice. I was in charge of the case United States of America versus 5 members of the Carolina Knights of the KKK. I'd indicted them for conspiring to obtain stolen military weapons at Fort Bragg and other military installations across the South. The records of the United States Senate will tell you that I tried that case at no small risk to myself. You see these individuals put a death warrant out against me. And at the end, they received a free trip to a federal institution of higher learning. 4 years later, I was appointed by the first President Bush to be an assistant secretary to the Department of Education. I had the same position under President Bush that Justice Clarence Thomas had under President Reagan. And I sent out a policy directive that said that colleges and universities should not provide seats in their classrooms, or should they provide financial aid to their students based upon one's bloodline. The New York Times said it was a frontal assault on race-based affirmative action. And it was. And why do I tell you the 2 stories? Because if you're looking to send somebody to Washington who has some courage, who has been consistent in the ideals of individual liberty and individual freedom, and who can stand up to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. I kind of think that what was running through the marrow, the bones of that 33-year-old kid, and what was still in him when he was 37, and what's been in him for the decade that you've given him the honor to represent you as a member of the Railroad Commission of Texas, is still with me today and will travel with me the 1,500 miles from our home Texas to Washington, D.C. My friends, may the peace of the Lord be with you. May God bless you. May God bless Texas.
Yeah.